In this session, we will be doing question answer discussion from the chapter Control and Coordination. So, we will be doing 1 mark question, 2 mark question, 3 mark questions and 5 mark questions. So, let's begin with a 1 mark question. So, the first question is, junction of two neurons is called option A, synapse, option B, synapses, option C, joint and option D, junction. So, here the correct answer is synapse. Now, which of the following is a plant hormone? Option A, insulin, option B, thyroxine, option C, estrogen and option D, cytokinin. We have discussed all these hormones and the right answer is option D, cytokinin. Now, what do you mean by geotropism? Geotropism is a downward movement of root in response to gravitational force. Question number 4. The brain is lodged inside the cavity of a skull known as option A, pia mater, option B, dura mater, option C, cranium, option D, meninges. So, here the right answer is cranium. We have seen that brain is embedded in a bony box called the cranium or the skull. Now, next question is, dwarfism results by option A, excess secretion of thyroxine, option B, less secretion of growth hormone, option C, less secretion of adrenaline and option D, excess secretion of growth hormone. Here, dwarfism we know is caused due to deficiency or the less secretion of growth hormone. Now, select the mismatched pair. Adrenaline, pituitary gland, B, testosterone, testis, C, estrogen, ovary, D, thyroxine, thyroid gland. So, we know that adrenaline is secreted by the adrenal glands. So, the wrongly matched pair and the correct answer for this question will be option A, adrenaline, which is mismatched with pituitary gland. Now, next question is, which part of the brain is that which links between endocrine system and the nervous system? So, here we have seen the connecting link between endocrine and nervous system is hypothalamus. The next question, write the function of the hormone thyroxine produced in our body. So, the function of thyroxine is to control the overall metabolic rate of the body. Now, if we step on something sharp accidentally, we remove our foot away at once. What is this type of response known as? So, we have discussed in detail. So, the answer is reflex action. Now, give an example of plant hormone that promote growth. So, you can write that auxin is a plant hormone that promote growth of the cells. Now, coming to 2 mark questions. So, the first question is, how does touch me not plant respond on touching? What is this movement called? So, touch me not plant falls its leaflets on touching. This type of movement is called nastic movement or growth independent movement. So, they are not dependent, they are not growth movements. Okay, so that is the answer. Now, name the fluid filled between the meninges of brain. What is its function? So, we have seen this question, we have discussed it in detail, the cerebrospinal fluid. So, the cerebrospinal fluid protects the brain from mechanical shocks. Now, the neck of a person appears to be swollen. So, name the disease this person is suffering from and name the mineral which causes this deficiency of which cause this disease. So, here you know the neck, in front of your neck you have a butterfly shaped gland called thyroid gland, and if there is deficiency of the hormone thyroxine, the disease is goiter. So, the neck will be enlarged, and goiter, the thyroxine, for the production of thyroxine you need a mineral called the iodine. So, the deficiency of iodine can cause goiter, in the diet can cause goiter. Now, A person suffered from head injury due to which he faces breathing problem. On clinical examination, the respiratory system of the person was found to be normal. What could be the most likely cause of this problem? Now you know that in the brain there are centers which controls your respiration. So even though the respiratory system appears normal, because of the head injury, the person could be something must have happened to the pons region of the brain. So that could be the reason for this condition. So as the problem is caused due to head injury, it could be related to pons, a part of the hindbrain responsible for the regulation of respiration. Now, a leaf-shaped gland is present above the intestine. The secretion of this gland regulates the metabolism of sugar in the blood. Name the secretion and the gland. So you know that the gland will be pancreas and the secretion is insulin. So insulin basically controls the sugar metabolism of sugar in the blood. Now name the plant hormone which inhibits the growth and causes wilting of leaves, and the second is which promotes cell division. So you know the hormone that causes wilting is abscisic acid and that which promotes cell division is cytokinin. Now coming to 3-mark question, list 3 characteristics of hormones. So the hormones are secretions secreted by a specialized cells called the endocrine glands. So the chief characteristics of hormone are they are required in a very less amount to have an effect on a particular organ. Now hormones are very much specific in their function. You must have seen that adrenaline has a specific function, thyroxine has a specific function, testes or estrogen, they have their respective function. So hormones are specific in their function and they act away from the site of production. Mostly they act on a different, they have the site of production is different and the action is, the site of action is different. So these are the characteristics of hormone. Now, where are pons and medulla oblongata located? Mention their functions. Now, pons and medulla oblongata are located in the hindbrain. Now, pons act as a bridge between the brain and the spinal cord. Medulla oblongata is the reflex center to control activities like salivation, swallowing, vomiting, breathing, coughing, sneezing, and heartbeat, etc. It also controls sleep, consciousness, and activities of cerebrum. Now list the functions of testosterone and estrogen. Where are these secreted? Testosterone is secreted in males. It is responsible for the development of male sex organs and secondary sex characteristics like mustache, beard, and voice. Now, estrogen is secreted in female. It is responsible for development of female sex organs and secondary sex characteristics like development of mammary gland and uterus. Now, define a nerve impulse. Which structure in neuron help to conduct the nerve impulse towards the cell body and then away from the cell body. So nerve impulse is the passing of information through neurons in a form of electrical and chemical signal. Now the axons carry the impulses away from the cell body and dendrites carry the impulses towards the cell body. Now, what are phytohormones? Name them. So, phytohormones are special chemical compounds released by different parts of the plant. They help to coordinate growth, development, and response to the environment. Now, the important phytohormones are auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid, and ethylene. Coming to 5-mark question. What are hormones? Mention one function of these hormones. So here the hormones are thyroxine, insulin, adrenaline, growth hormone, and testosterone. Now hormones, as I've said, Hormones are chemical substance which are secreted in a very less amount by specialized glands called endocrine glands. So here thyroxine we have seen it controls the metabolic rate, overall metabolic rate of the body. Now insulin mainly controls the sugar levels or the sugar metabolism in the blood. Now adrenaline is a hormone that is responsible for the flight, fright and fight response hormone. Now growth hormone is required for the development of organs. Now draw the structure of a neuron, label its part and explain the function. What do you understand by the term synapse? So draw a neatly labeled diagram. You have to mark the cell body, the axon, dendrite. As I said, the axon carries the impulse away from the cell body, dendrite carry towards the cell body, and there are myelin sheath also to give protection to the neuron. Now what is a synapse? So synapse basically is a neuronal junction, the site of transmission of electric impulses between two nerve cells or neurons, or between a neuron or an effector cell, say a muscle cell. So here there are chemical substances which are released. These chemical substances are called neurotransmitters. Now, what are tropic movements? Name the types of tropic movement in plant. So, the bending or the movement of a plant part in response to an external stimulus is called tropism or a tropic movement. So, these are of following types. We have phototropism, that is in response to light. Here, usually the stem of the plant grows towards the light. So, that is an example for phototropism. Now, geotropism is the movement of plant in response to the gravitational force. So, that is mainly by the root part of the plant. Now we have chemotropism. Chemotropism is because the attraction of the male reproductive part and the female reproductive part because of some chemicals released by the female, that is the stigma, that is the example for chemotropism. Now hydrotropism, some plants, for example mangroves, they show an affinity towards water. So these type of plants are called hydrotrophism. Then there is thigmotrophism, that is basically to a stimulus, a touch stimulus or something. Some plants with tendrils, they coil. So that is an example for thigmotrophism. Now the question is, a man becomes unconscious due to head injury. A pin is pricked on his foot. He withdraws his food. Why? Explain. Define reflex action. Represent diagrammatically the path that leads to other response. So this happens because of the reflex action. So the stimulus is perceived by a receptor, that is the skin. Sensory nerve sends the information to a receptor in the spinal cord. Then the spinal cord sends the message through the motor nerves to the effectors. So the effectors or the muscles help in withdrawing his food. So this is what happens, and this in turn together we call as a reflex action. Now what is a reflex action? A reflex action is an involuntary and an instantaneous movement in response to a stimulus. A reflex action is made possible by a neuronal pathway called the reflex arc, which can act on an impulse before the impulse reaches the brain. So the process or this particular action, this sudden action is basically controlled by your spinal cord. So you have to represent this diagrammatically, like you can represent, you don't need to draw it like hand and all, you just need to represent it like from the foot it is carried by the sensory neurons to the spinal cord. From there the information is sent to the effector or the muscle cell. You need to represent it in a chart or in a diagrammatical